Kate Curlin to lead things off for a Florida team that is 12-8 overall, 2-1 after a series win in the league last week, and a first pitch fastball breezes by Curlin for strike one.
And that's where you're going to see Holman. He likes to take that four-seam fastball, pitch it up just about the waist, top of the strike zone. That way he can get to that slider and curveball.
Held the swing on the second. Our home plate umpire tonight is Kevin Sweeney. First of three, the weather is just about perfect. It'll dip down into the high 50s before we're finished. 1-1 to Curlin as a curveball swung on a miss, 1-2. Sun sets on this Friday night in Red Stick. Temperature in the low 70s at first pitch. There was a threat of rain. It never materialized. That's good news. Swing and a miss again. And Holman dispatches Curlin. Well, after a 5-year absence, Kevin O'Sullivan got Florida back to Omaha last season. He's in his 17th year with the Gators, owns a national championship. And he's had his hands full kind of trying to figure out Jack Caglione and how to best use him. 9 home runs in the season. He's hit 2 home runs twice in the last 5 games. He takes a fastball off the hip. We'll save the Caglione conversation, it seems.
Well, I could help Sully out on how to use Caglione. How about you just plug him in the lineup every game and let him pitch once on the weekend, and it'll do pretty good for you.
He's got that figured out now. We'll see him on Sunday as a starter. He's been the best starter for Florida on the weekend this year. That's been their challenge, and we're not used to seeing that with Florida. Generally on the weekend, they're as good as anybody in the country. They've scuffled a little bit on the mound so far, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
5.78 ERA as a team. Here's Luke Heyman, the DH for Florida. And the first pitch low and away. Heyman, well, got him with a strike. He didn't hold it.
They're not seeing that breaking ball. And I know it's super early, but Curlin swung a 2 out of the zone. And that time, Heyman, you got to get ready for the elevated fastball, which Holman has done consistently, but he's had 3 swing throughs already on the breaking ball.
Well, that breaking ball, that slider of his now 61% swing and miss. I mean, we talk about the college average slider, swung and missed about 33% of the time. His at 61%. So that's how good it's been.
It's 100% so far tonight.
Heyman had a great year last year. SEC freshman team with 51 starts for this Florida team that made it in the College World Series Finals, and against A&M last week in a crucial game-tying home run in the 4th inning of Game 3. He's got Caglione at first, who hasn't attempted a stolen base this year. 0-2.
Luke Holman had a really solid year at Alabama last year. 7-4 with a 3.67 ERA. Was the Friday night guy at Alabama last year. A lot of big-time SEC experience.
Swing and a miss and a fastball up. Second K for Holman.
Well, no surprises here. That's what we said he was going to go use up the fastball up to get to the slider. So back-to-back sliders, and he just takes a fastball right above the top of the zone, and nothing Heyman can do with it.
2 down for Colby Shelton, who we featured with this Florida batting order. Double-digit home runs. He's driven in 22. And the first pitch fastball at 93 is up and in on the hands. 1-0 for the sophomore from Lexington, South Carolina.
These two guys have faced each other, but it was in fall ball last year because both of them were wearing Alabama jerseys.
Shelton was a first-team All-America with the Tide last year. Breaking ball in for a strike. Tied with Georgia's Charlie Condon for the SEC single-season freshman home run record. He did set the Alabama freshman home run record. Shift is on for the lefty, and the pitch misses up in the zone at nearly 94.
That's going to be the key for Florida tonight, is laying off that one. It's just up and out of the zone. We've already seen 3 or 4 swing throughs on the fastball, but all have been elevated and all have been just up and out.
Swing and a miss, and that one kicks off the catcher Travinsky and gets all the way to the on-deck circle.
Well, this is kind of what makes Holman special, right? I mean, even when he gets himself in fastball counts, you're not always going to get the fastball. He has the pitchability and the confidence to take his breaking balls and use his breaking balls in plus counts or fastball. That's a real 12-6 breaking ball that Travinsky can't keep in front.
So 2-2 to Shelton with Caglione in scoring position. Low and in, full count. Shelton was only 2 for 11 against LSU last year while wearing an Alabama uniform. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. That is on point for Holman.
Well, probably both. But over the course of the year, the batting average should come down on balls that are put into play.
Here's Arizona transfer Mac Bingham, senior from San Diego and Torrey Pines High School. Bingham's hit safely in 5 of 6. In for a strike. .273 average with 3 home runs and connected for 2 of those in games last week, 1 over the weekend and 1 in the midweek. All right, Kev, thank you. Welcome to Baton Rouge for the Friday night game between 6th-ranked Florida and number 5 LSU, 2 teams who last met in Omaha with a World Series title on the line. Dale Thomas off the bag at third makes a fantastic play to retire Mac Bingham. You missed 1 half of play. In that half, Luke Holman struck out the side from the Florida Gators, and now Kate Fisher on the mound facing All-American Tommy White, who carries a 7-game hit streak into this at bat. Tom Hart, Kyle Peterson, Ben McDonald. We got a full booth, and Ben, a guy in Tommy White who's got to carry the load for this rebuilt LSU roster.
No doubt, and he carried the load last year too. How about 105 RBIs in 66 games for the Tigers last year? Led the nation in RBIs. Another monster season after a monster freshman year at NC State. And yeah, it was a little bit of a slow start for him, but boy, has he heated up the last 6 or 7 games.
He homered in every game of the Mississippi State series last weekend. In fact, he's homered in 4 straight, and in that span, 9 for his last 18 with 9 ribbies. Overall, a 7-game hit streak for Tommy White, and that fastball in on the elbow.
Yeah, I think his struggles early in the year, just kind of getting out in front, trying to do a little bit too much too early in the season. Rolled over a lot of balls, but now he's starting to power the ball where he's at his best out toward right center field.
If I remember right, the same thing happened last year.
Yes.
He did not. It was not that way at NC State. He hit like 1 million home runs in the first 2 weeks, but last year it was a slow start, and then obviously the numbers were there at the end.
2-2 is up. Full count from Cade Fisher in his 2nd season with his Florida team. Set the Georgia Prep record for ERA. But he comes into this one 2-1 with a 7.94, his 6th start of the year. 3-2 is lifted foul.
Well, and let's not forget about last year. Tommy was surrounded by some real dudes last year, right? And this year, he has seen a lot of all-speed pitches, especially early in the year. And he just kind of rolled over him, trying to do a little bit too much at times. Now, it's going to be up to Jared Jones, who's hitting behind him, to have a big year with a pitch to Tommy.
Breaking ball stayed up and away, and a 1-out walk to Tommy White. You mentioned it would be up to Jared Jones, hitting behind him where he's hit in 6 out of 7 and carries a .296 average into this at bat.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Jones is the guy that got out of the gates quickly for LSU last year as a true freshman, made freshman All-American, racked up a lot of homers early, but when SEC play rolled around, he was outmatched at times and ended up not playing a whole lot down the stretch. And Jay Johnson's got him plugged in this year. He's going to be the everyday first baseman. He has been so far. And the power numbers are really good. You're looking at 8 homers and 21 RBIs. Batting average okay at .296.
Sophomore from Marietta, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta and Walton High School, and a changeup to start it off to get Jones swinging. 0-1. Freshman All-SEC team last year, 3rd on the team in home runs and ribbies. Had a productive weekend against State. Took that one off the knee. 2 on and only 1 out. That brings Hayden Travinski up after a walk and a hit batter.
For Cade Fisher, I mean, you got to try to establish fastball in, especially against these LSU hitters, because the righties are going to climb all on top of it. But right there, I mean, that was about a 1.5 misfire with the fastball. And that just about went behind Jones.
Yeah, it's some odd numbers for me for Cade Fisher this year. I mean, you look at his line last weekend against A&M. 1 walk, 10 punch-outs. I mean, that's big time. But yet gave up 6 runs.
First pitch strike to Travinski. In .333 with 5 home runs. Senior from Shreveport, one of 3 different catchers at LSU will throw out there. He's hitting .455 with runners in scoring position this year. In for a strike. How big is the first inning? Obviously, I think it's big for Cade Fisher, but overall in this game, in this series.
Well, I mean, I think it's massively important for him. Ultimately,
inside again.
Yeah, those misses glove side are not small. It's rare when we look at a Florida rotation on the weekend. That Friday night guy's not 92 to 96 with a wipeout slider. Fisher doesn't necessarily have that stuff. He's had plenty of swing and miss this year.
And that ball is laced foul.
It's just like Ben was saying. I mean, the hit, it's a strange combination. Usually when you see a bunch of strikeouts, you don't see a bunch of hits because it's usually an indicator of stuff that really plays well.
And he's not walking guys. He's got 5 walks the whole year.
37 strikeouts against those 5 walks and 22 2/3.
But to answer your question too, Tommy, I think it's important because both of these offenses so far this year have not been very good. LSU #1 offense in the SEC last year. Florida #2 offense. They're both sitting 10th and 11th this year in the SEC respectively.
20th pitch of the inning is a changeup swung on and miss. He needed that one. And now 2 down.
So these offenses are really below average SEC standards right now. This is a really good breaking ball from Fisher here. Just kind of starts it a little bit off the outside corner and works it back. And so we're not used to seeing these offenses down towards the bottom of the SEC. So what I'm getting at, I think it's important for both of these teams to try to work ahead in this ballgame. The difference is Florida is a big home run hitting team, a lot more than LSU. They can climb back in a ballgame.
Here's Josh Pearson. To your point, LSU middle of the pack in the league and average at 300 and 31 home runs to Florida's 44. Pearson, junior from West Monroe, got hot late last year, really from middle of May on. It's just his 17th start of this season, and the breaking ball misses inside. 2-0.
Talking numbers, by the way, have you seen Charlie Condon's numbers this year?
Yeah, it looks like video game numbers.
I mean, we are leading the league in hits, home runs, total bases, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and an OPS above 1,800.
And if I remember right, he didn't have a great first SEC weekend, did he? Did they hold him to like 1 hit in the series?
Yeah, he was fairly quiet. Well, I mean, they got
3
swept.
games.
Kentucky swept him,
but the numbers before that were just, and they still are, just ridiculous.
Fouled off. 2-2 with the shift on against Josh Pearson. Well, he's not the only one with ridiculous numbers. Overall, the offensive numbers just spiking, even though the warm weather has really yet to arrive. The 25th pitch of the inning for Fisher. No score in the first. And the 2-2 was golfed to foul territory on the right side. Caglione over to the wall. And that one's back to the concourse. Standing room only, by the way, on this Friday night. Busy weekend for LSU sports. Women's basketball team won its game just a few hours ago, a few blocks away over the PMAC, the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few folks here that enjoyed the basketball game and then made their walk over to the baseball field.
2-2 to Pearson. Fought that one off into left field. Tommy White around third. They're going to wave him home. The throw from Shelnut gets to the plate. The tag is late. An RBI single for Josh Pearson, and LSU strikes first. How about Tommy Wheels White making it home?
Did he get in there? I don't know. I want to see this again.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to see it again. I think they're going to look, taking a chance, a little backside ground ball, and White just one stolen base attempt in the entire year. Testing the arm of Shelnut out left. Does the tag get there?
I can't tell from there.
He doesn't get the plate with his feet. He's doing it intentionally. He's trying to just swipe it with that oven mitt on the way by. I didn't see a
Florida
tag.
has challenged the safe call at home.
There we go.
If he clips him on the way by, he's out.
If he gets him,
I just didn't see a tag.
I don't think the tag applies.
Ball safe stands. The runner that scored. Florida will have one remaining challenge.
It's a no-brainer to challenge that if you're Kevin O'Sullivan. That was as close as it would get.
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones. If it had been called out at home plate, I don't think you could have overturned this either. That's how close it was.
And the first pitch low to Ethan Fry, who's making only his 4th start of the season and his first since March 9th. 6 hits on the season, 2 of them doubles for Fry. Batting in the 6th hole for LSU. And Fisher. This is with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. 353 average with 7 ribbies. Ground ball through the hole on the left side. Jones be waved home. The throw from Shelnut is cut off, and LSU takes a 2-0 lead.
There's so much that goes into a scouting report. It's not just about the guy on the mound. You start to look at the arms in the outfield, and Josh Jordan taking 2 chances right here with 2 outs. And really neither one of the guys are plus runners that you're trying to score from second base. I mean, watch when Shelnut gets this ball.
Shelnut gets
Jones
it.
is 3 steps before hitting third base. You got to have a chance there to throw him out. And that time they really didn't.
And honestly, that's about as good a chance as you're going to get. When you got the ball in your glove and in your hand as an outfielder, and the runner you're trying to throw out has not even reached third base yet, you would think. But you're right. The scout report goes in, and you can already see what LSU 0 was the average team ERA. That's where we are now.
Braswell looks at a breaking ball, 3-0.
Because I'll tell you, there's some guys in college baseball right now with some unbelievable stuff, but mid-4 ERAs. And you watch them pitch, you go, how does this guy giving up 4.5, 5 runs a game? But
hey, we're getting back to the days to where a 4 ERA isn't going to look that bad at the end of the year. We're hitting more home runs on average than we were when the Gorilla Ball days were here.
4 pitch.
Team's best players right out of the chute. So navigating the first inning before you can get your rhythm is always the most difficult for me. And that's why you hope at some point you can just get through the first and throw a 0 up, and then typically the rhythm begins to come.
Paxton Kling at the plate, the 8-hole hitter. Cade Fisher pitching with the bases loaded and 2 out. And the next 2 hitters, Kling and Milam, are combined 2 for their last 32. Kling is 2 for 2 with the bases loaded this year, and the breaking ball misses low and in, 2-1. What is working for Cade Fisher in this inning in terms of pitch selection? And what can he rely on right here?
I think his changeup is what he's most comfortable with right now. That time steals a strike with a glove side fastball right at the top of the zone, but I think the kid's mind is going a million miles an hour, because you hit one, you walk one, and then you get 2 7 hoppers that go into left field. That's how you give up the 2 runs.
Swing and a miss by Kling, and that'll get him out of the inning. But LSU Intimidators dates got just a little bit smaller font when they had to update it in the offseason. First pitch strike to Ty Evans from Luke Holman. Jay Johnson took Arizona to the College World Series finals. Took Arizona to Omaha multiple times, and then delivered what, right or wrong, Ben, what everybody expects in this fan base. Another trophy.
Well, when Jay Johnson took over at LSU 3 years ago, he said, my goal is to bring LSU back to the forefront of college baseball. It took him 2 years to do it. And you guys know, I mean, relentless recruiter, doesn't sleep very often, as prepared as anybody to do it, and Jay Johnson's done a really wonderful job in obviously a very high pressure situation here at LSU.
4 Ks for Luke Holman to go with 1-hit batter. Now Tyler Shelnut coming to the plate. He's been hot over his last 6. It was interesting. We met with Jay this morning. What was that, 9:30 for a 7 o'clock game? He's in the building with his entire staff, and I said, well, what's normal for you? And he said, well, I usually stay up late. I got my home set up. I got the office and all my screens. I can watch that Thursday night game and get my prep work done. The grind never stops with this guy.
No, and he was here at 7 this morning.
Yeah, and look, that's not just this morning. From what I hear, it's every day he is here between 6 and 7 o'clock, breaking down film, watching games. I remember talking to him in Omaha last year. I said, how's it going? He said, well, I'm sleeping about 3 hours a night, because remember, he was trying to win the national championship, first of all. Then he was working the transfer portal. Then he's trying to find a pitching coach, and trying to keep his recruits from going to the draft, and so it's a tough time, honestly, to be a college head baseball coach right now. It is always busy.
2-0 to Tyler Shelnut, who's upstairs with a fastball, 3 balls and no strikes. Shelnut got an OPS of 1164. 1163, pardon me. Game 3, go-ahead 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th against A&M last weekend, and he works a 1-out walk. That'll bring Dale Thomas up. I think, you know, one other element that coaches didn't have to really deal with before is the transfer portal, and part of that is in season, in series, in game, not only watching your own team, but knowing what positions you may need to fill next year, keeping an eye on the other guys that are on the field in the other uniform and thinking to yourself, all right, well, is this guy going to be a fit for us down the road? First pitch behind Dale Thomas.
Well, at the end of the year trying to win a national championship at the same time.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Thomas is senior, transfer from Coastal Carolina. Played in 14 games with the Gators last year. Was second team All Sun Belt Conference with Coastal the year prior. Short lead for Tyler Shelnut, who's one of the few stolen base threats on this team for Florida. 3 for 3, and this ball is lifted deep and fouling out of play. Thomas, one of 2 Coastal Carolina transfers on this Florida roster. You see where Florida comes in among class ranks, usually the SEC teams only. LSU coming in number 2. They had the number 1 transfer class last year, led by some guy named Skeens. I wonder whatever happened to him.
He'll be in the big league some point in time this year with the Pirates.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and the throw down to second, skips through the glove of Milam and into center field. Can't charge an error on that play, but missed opportunity for Milam. Looked like the throw beat him, huh?
The throw beat him, yeah, and it looked like he was going to get a short hop too, and he did. Just tries to move the tag down a little bit before he has the ball. It's a different route, obviously, with a shift on. Milam's coming to second. A little different angle that he's used to, but yeah, he gloves that one. Shelnut's out.
Yeah, Trubinsky behind home plate for the Tigers tonight. Probably their third best really catch and throw guy that they have.
1-2 pitch to Thomas. Missed by much.
Well, Luke Holman thought he had strike 3, and so did Hayden Trubinsky, the catcher for LSU.
So 2-2 to Thomas. And he laces this one foul. Thomas is the second of 3 Coastal Carolina transfers that Kevin O'Sullivan has brought into the program. Remember, BT Riopel was behind the plate. It's like KP and his favorite hats. If you got one, just keep going back to
roll with it.
If it feels good, wear it.
Got him broke in.
Shelnut the runner at second, the 2-2. Whoa! Got it out of his hand and put a dent in the padding. The wild pitch is the second of the season for Holman.
They want to switch that one out.
Yes.
Slider that just zipped right out of his hand.
Just missed.
Shift down for the right-hander Thomas. The payoff pitch. And that break ball misses low and away. Back-to-back walks after recording the first 4 outs of the game via K.
Yeah, unusual for Luke Holman because he is a strike thrower typically. I mean, these teams are too good to give extra opportunities to.
Braswell's got 6 of them at shortstop. Breaking ball swung on and missed by Tanner Garrison.
In comparison, Florida's made 10 the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, they're the number 1 fielding team in the SEC. Florida typically a very good defense.
Here's the 0-1 from Holman. Runner goes from first, swing and a miss. And a stolen base for Dale Thomas.
And that was why Jay Johnson went out. You got first and third, bottom part of the order right here. Garrison has not done a whole lot offensively, and I think the thought process was they're going to do something. Put him in motion, safety, obviously right there. Dale Thomas steals his first bag of the year, and there's no way Trubinsky was going to throw.
Garrison only making his 8th start of the season, 2-2. Pardon me, 1-2.
And LSU going to play that defense back. They're going to concede the run.
Strike 3. 5th K for Holman to go against those 2 strikeouts.
Well, the good ones, guys, can find a way to elevate their game when it matters most. A guy over at first base. Holman haven't pitched to the inside part of the plate very often, but perfectly. You see Hayden Travinski sets up right on the inside part of the plate and says, give me that heater right here, and well executed by Holman. 5th strikeout of the night.
And here's Liberty transfer Jalen Guy. Fastball up and away. Guy's got plenty of experience. 4 seasons at Liberty, 179 starts there. It's from Greensboro to Southeast Guilford High School. Not easy. Replace a guy who was in center field last time these teams met, who's already in the big leagues. Well, opening day.
Pretty cool day for Wyatt Langford. Get the news today he's going to make the club.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. He'll be the 2nd position player from last year's draft to make it to the bigs.
Yeah, and look, everybody knows the story last year when he went to the minor leagues after he signed after the College World Series, tore up the minor leagues. So they bring him to big league camp with a chance. And he absolutely, I mean, one of the top home run guys in spring training in Major League Baseball this year.
Guy looks at that pitch low, 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
For the defending world champs.
Yeah.
I mean, they were pretty good in the outfield last year.
Shelnut the runner at third, Thomas at second. 2-2 pitch to Guy. Fastball off the plate, full count.
Yeah, Luke Holman's command of that fastball not as sharp as it was his first 4 starts. You could see Hayden Travinski gave the target. He wanted a belt-high fastball there, but instead it's kind of down and away.
Here's the payoff to Guy. Popped it up out of play behind the plate. Holman Jr. from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, at a Wilson High School. Spent last year with Bama. Was a Friday night start with the Crimson Tide last season. 2nd in the league in whip, 3rd in opponents batting at. And the veteran Jalen Guy fighting in this one. 7th pitch of the AB. Again the payoff. Got him looking. Strikeout number 6.
Yeah, Dylan Cruz, big spring training for the Nats. Well, you see Paul Skeens the other day in that prospects game against the Orioles. I think the first pitch was 100, then he went 101, 102 to get rid of Enrique Bradfield Jr.
Yeah.
And then he faced Jackson Holliday, and Jackson Holliday was quoted after the game saying, I think he was throwing about 108 miles an hour. That's what it looked like.
Stephen Milam at the bottom of the order for LSU.
Well, you can kind of see what Cade Fisher wants to do. I mean, he keeps wanting to get that fastball to the inside part of the plate. That's kind of the scouting report, and Sully kind of told us that, is that we're going to try to work the inside part of the plate with the fastball to LSU. Because like most college hitters, I mean, most guys look middle away. That's kind of where we are in college ball. Not a whole lot of guys throw inside consistently for strikes.
3-2.
Cutter right there. And LSU loaded it up with right-handers. I mean, 8 of the 9 in this lineup from the right-hand side, including the switch hitting Milam right here.
5'8" freshman from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and he pokes it to the right side for Cade Curlin. 1 down. All right, so take us through the mind of Cade Fisher. You had to labor through the first inning, 38 pitches, hit a batter, walked a couple.
Yeah.
Is it easy to hit the reset button when you come back out?
I don't think it is for him now, just because it's kind of been one of those years where you look at it and go, okay, what's going to go wrong next? I mean, it wasn't like they were hitting it off the wall in the first inning. He created his own issues, and then a couple ground ball singles ended up scoring a couple runs. So he's not getting hit that hard. Pitch count's going way up already, though.
Mac Bingham at the plate. Started with a ground out to third to open the first for LSU. 3-0, and Tanner Garrison trying to get his guy focused. He's already made one trip to the mound that came in the first. Guides one in for a strike. 3-1. Back-to-back 3-0 counts to start the second inning for Cade Fisher. With that inside strike, full count. Bingham spent 4 seasons in Tucson playing for Arizona. Was all-conference performer in the Pac-12 last year, and he chops one to short. Short hop pickup beauty by Shelton. 2 down. And with the bases empty, Tommy White comes to the plate carrying a 7-game hit streak.
At the plate for LSU, third baseman Tommy White.
6 home runs, 21 driven in, 4 consecutive games of the long ball for White. Tommy White did not play in the fall, was coming off of band surgery that he underwent just 5 days after the College World Series. And with Jay Johnson earlier today, he said he didn't play in the fall, but he was engaged every practice, working through every group. And he skies this one, but got underneath it. Caglione in foul territory. Coming back to the chalk. So one trip to the order for Holman and those 6 Ks, and he starts Cade Curlin off with a breaking ball, 0-1. Curlin struck out in the first. 4 home runs. He's driven in 13 on the season. What's the difference between the Holman breaking balls?
Well,
curveball, go ahead.
Yeah, one's curveball, one's a slider. If you watch the curveball, it's got more of a shape of almost a 12-6, and then that slider's kind of moving a little bit horizontal. Has some vertical in it too, but moving a little bit horizontal. And the mile per hour, about 5 miles an hour difference.
Did you throw 2?
In the big leagues, I threw a cutter and a curveball, but in college it was just curveball, forkball, fastball, changeup.
The old forkball.
I never could master the curveball and the slider because I felt like they kind of morphed into one, and that's why I came up with a cut fastball, which is easy to throw, versus trying to throw a slider and a curveball.
Here's the 2-2 to Curlin. Jammed him, and off of the knuckles, it'll trickle foul. And that was release point, grip, all of it?
Yeah, the slider and the curveball is similar to throw, and that's why a lot of guys have trouble. Now, obviously the pitch that a lot of guys are throwing now is a sweeper, and that's a little bit different because of the seam shifted wake and how the ball moves and all that kind of stuff. You're seeing some guys be able to master the curveball and the slider. Now the sweeping slider is what we call it. But yeah, I never could get both of those going because you're still throwing the side of the hand in both of them, so it was a little bit more difficult.
Ben just went next level on us. 3-2
Seam
to Curlin.
shifted wake.
Yeah, that's all this new technology that we got out. We understand. And listen, the sweeping slider's been around. Everybody makes a big deal like it's a new pitch, but it's the same pitch that Chris Sale's been throwing for 15 years and Randy Johnson threw too. It's just now we understand why the balls move like they move.
There's the breaking ball, and strikeout number 7 with the throw time up. Nine strikeouts and 87 at-bats this season for Caglione. And the scouting report tells you he usually swings at that first pitch. Curveball in the dirt, 2-0.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that impressed me about Caglione, but the ability to hit the left-handers too. I mean, he's almost equally as good against left-handed pitching as he is right-handed pitching. And I know there's a lot of talk about him on the mound, and I do like him on the mound. It's a big arm. But for me, and what I've seen this year, and you talked about not striking out as much, walking a little bit more, better understanding of the strike zone. And I'm telling you what, some of the plays he has made defensively for the Florida Gators, he's a big league first baseman all day long, in my opinion.
SEC preseason player of the year, 2-1.
It's why he's pitching on Sundays. It's the only reason he's pitching on Sundays, so he can play first base Friday, Saturday, then we'll start game 3 of the series because he's a run saver over there at first.
2-1. Chased it upstairs at 93. 33 home runs to lead the nation last year.
Let's see if Holman goes back to that 12-6 curveball. Fastball up normally sets up that breaking ball.
They've got the shift on for Caglione. Stephen Milam is playing in short right.
Can he throw him out from there?
Here's the payoff. And there's that curveball, but it stayed up. Third walk from Luke Holman and brings Luke Heyman to the plate. What do you think Mike Rivera is telling him right now?
He's telling him, do not steal. You have to pitch Sunday. We don't want you to bust up your ankle. I want you to take just a very average to below average lead, and when they hit it, you run.
He probably said, hey, listen.
Verbatim right there.
I've got a great joke. I'm only going to give you one line at a time. You have to keep coming back to me for the punchline.
If you run, you're not going to hear it.
That's right. The shift on for Heyman. Mark Wanaka handles all of the defensive alignments for this LSU program. And the pitching under first-year pitching coach Nate Yeski. Came over from Texas A&M, 1-2.
And previously with Jay in Arizona for a few years. So they've worked together, know each other well. Nate's been a great fit. He's kind of a great fit everywhere he's been.
Including national championship seasons at Oregon State. 1-2 pitch. Fought it off.
Yeah, Nate Yeski is the only active assistant coach in college baseball to take 3 different programs to the College World Series. Obviously won it with Oregon State. Went there a couple of times with Oregon State, once with A&M, once with Arizona.
Fouled off, 1-2. How many different styles of pitching coaches exist in the game today?
I think there's still a fair amount. I mean, there's some old school guys that are still around. I think Frank Anderson would definitely fit that at Tennessee. There's plenty of
swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch.
I mean, obviously you go from Wes Johnson, who was here last year, now the head coach of Georgia, who is as advanced analytically as any college pitching coach. Nate's right there. I mean, it's very similar. But then you got to have the ability to dumb it down for everybody else. At this point, you just got to have the ability to keep calling the breaking ball if Holman's out there. But there are less, hey, I'm not going to look at the analytical guys now. Which makes sense because a lot of these kids are growing up and that's the information that they understand at a fairly young age.
Yeah, I mean, watching Wes Johnson last year, I felt like, as you mentioned, heavy analytical guy, and that's what attracted the Minnesota Twins to Wes Johnson to be the pitching coach. When I look at Nate Yeski, I see a guy that understands analytics, but also, as you mentioned, more of an old school guy that can tell you, okay, these are the analytical numbers, but this is what you have to do mechanically to get those balls in these certain spots to have success. And so I think Nate and I think that's where a lot of coaches, pitching coaches, are trying to get. Understand the analytics, be able to explain it, teach it, but also be really aware of the mechanical side and how to get balls to certain quadrants of the strike zone.
2-0 to Colby Shelton, who struck out his first time up and missed on the fastball, 2-1. Ben, you've been in spring training with the Orioles. I imagine a lot of the young pitchers who are coming up these days demand all of the same stuff that they had at major colleges, whether it be relying on TrackMan every training session. It felt like MLB teams were a step behind the college teams in some aspects.
No, I think there's a lot of truth to that, and it's the game has changed so much with these Edgertron cameras, slow motion cameras, and then TrackMan numbers and all the things that we have out there, right? It's amazing to me. You go to spring training and there'll be 5 pitchers throwing, 5 catchers down there catching their bullpen sessions, and behind each pitcher on the mound is the Edgertron camera and the TrackMan. And every pitch, and there's a guy with a computer behind every guy. And it's amazing. If a pitcher throws a pitch and says, what was the spin rate on that? How much vertical break did I get on that? What was the horizontal break on that? Okay, I'm going to change the grip a little bit, and let's see if we can improve it. And so and then it goes into a memory bank, and then they'll break down their session after the bullpen session. They'll talk about, okay, this grip worked better. You got 18 inches of vertical break on this. You had 14 inches of horizontal. This is where we want the ball. And so it's changed a lot from what it used to be.
Third full count of the inning. Shelton swings at the fastball, and it's strikeout number 9. Just 3 off of Holman's. And Ole Miss. And the first pitch is rocketed to right field. And a line out for Jared Jones, 1 down. I thought Mike Rooney put it pretty well. He was talking about Mississippi State's weekend, and he said, I just kind of feel like they fell into this funk where they almost like a funk of pity, and they were just waiting to come out of it. And for 2 years that lasted before they came back. And of course, Ole Miss kind of fell into that funk for 1 year after their national title.
Well, college baseball is better when Ole Miss and Mississippi State are players in the postseason. There's no doubt about that.
Hayden Travinski launches this one to center field. Guy drifting back towards the right field wall, and a leaping catch. 2 down. Quick 2 for Fisher. Why do you say that about Ole Miss and State?
Just the fan bases that they have, and are, you know, I mean, you talk about State, you talk about Ole Miss, you talk about, you know, probably 2 of the best fan bases in all of college baseball. You know, right there with LSU, and maybe a couple other programs. So it's just better. And look, both those programs, you know,
pick up the rhythm of Fisher through 14 pitches in the second, 2 here in the third after 38 in the first. Pearson with an RBI single on the backside his first time up. 1-1.
But for State too, I mean, it's not like there's no off weekends in this league, but you start with the defending national champs at home the first week in SEC play, and then you got to go to A&M. I mean, A&M was one of the last 2 undefeated teams in the country. So Florida beat them last weekend.
Tell your friends you're on national television.
That's my kid.
State leads A&M 5-1 in the 7th. Pitch is low, 2-2. And Tennessee hammering Ole Miss tonight, 15-3 so far. Pearson's got a 6-game hit streak now, 9 for his last 20. Make it 21. 7-pitch inning for Cade Fisher. Jay Johnson's LSU team has a 2-0 lead in the third. Tom Hart, Ben McDonald, Kyle Peterson. Jay, when you went and got Luke Holman to get out of the transfer portal, put an LSU jersey on, what were you expecting from him? What's his ceiling?
Well, Friday night, these games are going to be tight, as we can see, and he's going to give you a chance. He did it all last year at Alabama, and just preparing for him, I think he's got the pitch ability to make up everything you need to pitch in a game like this.
Coach, if you had to improve, I know you're trying to improve all facets of the game, but what's really the number one thing you want to try to improve from this point forward?
Yeah, I think it's a few things. Just staying committed to our plan on offense. I think we've really improved in the last 3 games. We saw some of that early in the game. We have to be able to stick with that against a good pitcher like Fisher. Just concentration stuff on defense. We've got a lot of different guys in new spots, and our pitchers got to pitch with conviction. They got to fill up the zone, and Luke's doing a great job striking guys out. We want him to keep getting ahead like that.
No doubt. Jay, thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Jay Johnson is pitcher Luke Holman. 9 strikeouts through 3 innings pitched. Facing Ty Evans now, who struck out in the second. Now, the shift has not come into play because, well, Florida hasn't put a ball in play.
No.
However, Ben, am I wrong, or is LSU shifting even more this season than they did last?
No, I feel like you're right. I mean, almost every batter will feel like there's some type of shift either to the pull side or you know, back to the other side when the left-handers come on.
So let me ask you this then, as it pertains to tonight, for both of you guys, if you're a strikeout pitcher, does the shift give you confidence to attack one certain spot more than another? Does it allow you any more freedom as a strikeout pitcher, or only guys who pitch to contact?
I would say if the shift ultimately makes you do things differently.
Pearson all the way back to the fence, and that one is gone. Opposite field home run for Ty Evans. Felt like a lazy fly ball, and it clears the fence for Evans' 5th home run of the year.
Evans has plenty of juice. I mean, we saw it last year with his Florida lineup. And the Gators just needed something. I mean, you had said just a minute ago, Tommy, they hadn't even hit a ball fair until this. He didn't get all of it. What win there is tonight is going to help out right there. Blowing kind of from the left field foul pole to right field foul pole. I thought it was a routine fly ball. I think Josh Pearson did too, but instead it's a solo shot and it's a 1-run game.
And a breaking ball low and away. First hit of the game for the Gators leaves the yard. Here's Tyler Shelnut.
Well, this is what the Gators do to you. I mean, don't forget, they led the nation last year in homers with 146 of them. And look, in their projected lineup before the season began, they brought back 117 home runs into their projected lineup for this year.
Milam handles that one. One down. That's a lot of long balls. By the way, Tennessee has hit 5 home runs tonight. 4 times this season they've hit 5 or more. Georgia has 3 games with 6 home runs or more.
They won them this week, but they got swept opening weekend.
Shift on for Dale Thomas. 2 home runs, 13 driven in. And Thomas got underneath it. Long run for Milam into shallow right, called off, and play made by Pearson. It's out with Tanner Garrison coming up.
Yeah, talking about the home runs and runs being scored, like, for me, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's almost not gotten fair for pitchers the last few years, and where we're trending right now, I'm wondering if it's time to step in. Maybe not to the degree we stepped in last time when we totally killed the offense, but for me, something that we can go back to the higher seam baseball, got a little bit more drag to it, or you could open the zones back up to more of a traditional strike zone than what we see in the college game, because we've not had that traditional college strike zone the last couple of years. I think that's also a big reason why we're seeing the offense balloon like it is.
Well, one of the reasons we haven't is the advent and the universal usage of TrackMan technology, which is what these guys are judged on, right? Don't we all feel that the strike zone got a little bit more professional in many ways, like MLB size once it got to TrackMan?
No doubt. It almost felt like a AA, AAA strike zone, and it is again this year. And the truth is our college pitchers, command-wise, they aren't as good as the big league guys to pitch though. And then you take the equipment that's out there now. This is not the bat that was introduced in the BB Core bat era years ago. This is a different kind of bat that's being used right now. So yes, in my opinion, something needs to be done to deaden the offense just a shade.
Tanner Garrison fouls one straight back, just missed the fastball. Just to play devil's advocate, what's the problem with more offense? Like, where is the tipping point where offense gets too hot?
The one thing I'm concerned about is exit velos. And way back when we talked about, and the NCAA said, hey, exit velos are a little bit high right now. It's getting to be dangerous. But we're.
All right, Dari, thank you. Great to see you in studio tonight. It's a 1-0 count as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning to Ethan Fry. Drove in a run with a seeing eye single in the first. And the off-speed pitch is in there for a strike from Cade Fisher, 1-1.
15 runs they hit 6 times. As they ruled them at home.
So we're just talking about the explosion of offense and been a chance to extrapolate on the dangers of the exit velo.
Yeah, so the NCAA told us years ago when they put the BB Core bat in play, they were worried about the exit velos and dangers to, of course, the pitcher being the closest guy to the batter. And that was a concern, and that was one of the reasons that they wanted to deaden the offense just a little bit. Well, now we're creating exit velos, honestly, that are exceeding what the biggest, strongest, best hitters in the world at the big league level are exceeding exit velocity. And so, to me, that's a little bit of a problem and a concern for sure. When guys are starting to hit balls off the bat, 118, 119, 120 off the bat, it's got to be a little bit concerning.
Full count to Ethan Fry. Little dribbler foul. KP, were you, whether it was college or professional ball, were you ever nervous in terms of batted balls? Was that a concern when you're on the mound?
First college game I ever pitched in was at Fullerton. I came out of the bullpen, and Mark Kotze hit a screamer right back at me and hit me right in the quad that I could feel for the next year, honestly. I knew exactly where it hit me.
High chopper handled over at third by Dale Thomas. Perfect positioning, and the throw retires Fry.
A little gun shy. Like, all right, this is a little bit different than playing
American Legion ball.
Miller South back home. They don't have any Kotzes there.
So why hasn't health and safety, which the NCAA in many ways, you could argue over-regulates for
Yeah.
good reason. Why hasn't that come up in conversation on the baseball side of things in recent years?
Only thing
Well,
I
it
could
will.
figure, they wanted more of a sample size of what's going on in offense, and they're getting that sample certainly the last 2 or 3 years, and so the other piece of that is when you have 18 to 12 ball games, you have a 3.5-hour game. Major League Baseball did a lot of studies the last couple of years. The average fan likes a 2.5-hour ball game. That's when your audience is at its best and wants to watch a ball game. Nobody wants to see a 3.5-hour ball game. Major League Baseball, as you guys know, put in some rule changes last year, sped the game up a little bit.
Braswell lines this one into left. He'll motor his way to second. The throw from Shelnut is a hair wide, and it's a one-out double from Michael Braswell III.
And so going back to that point, it's you take a look at Michael Braswell, who, Jay Johnson totally broke down. Braswell comes from South Carolina, was there for 2 years, played shortstop, pitched his first year, a little bit of a reliever as well. And Michael Braswell had the best batting average in fall for LSU. Jay Johnson got him on campus, totally broke down his swing, told him, I'd like to have you here at LSU, but if you come, I'm going to totally break you down, and I'm going to change your swing a little bit and do some things. And Braswell wanted to listen and has been a solid player. The defense was never an issue with Braswell. It was about the offensive side of the ball.
I'm going to tell you something. I think that's something that Jay does as good as any college coach, and that's teach. Obviously, he can recruit. He's done it everywhere he's been, but he is a great teacher of the game.
Paxton Kling takes a strike, 0-2. Eight-hole hitter Paxton Kling struck out his first time up. How does teaching manifest itself in season versus when you have fall to really work on stuff, especially mechanically?
I think one way it does is trust, to where if you're in a rut, or if anybody on the coaching staff sees something that maybe needs to be addressed, guys trust voices like Jay a lot more during the season, and then I think you're more apt to say, okay, I'm willing to listen and willing to do that.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with Jay's success, right, as a hitting coach and what he's been able to accomplish. Obviously, he's the head coach, but he takes care of all the hitting stuff at LSU, and he had some big-time performances when he was at Arizona. Arizona was always towards the top in offense and batting average, and he's kind of brought that over to LSU. He teaches patience, and his deal, if you watch him, is his guys are going to take a lot of pitches. His idea is he wants to get the pitch count up from the opposing starter very early, like he did in this ball game. So you'll see him make his guys work the counts in certain situations, and then once they see a guy through the lineup the first or second time, then he'll turn them loose, and you'll see LSU hitters start to attack some first pitches. But he wants them to really get knowledge of how the fastball moves, the velocity, how the breaking ball moves, and change up, work the pitcher a little bit, and then attack later on in the ball game.
Catcher Tanner Garrison needed a moment to catch his breath. Count 2-2. Braswell, the runner at second, and couldn't pull the trigger. Kling punched out.
Oh, this is money right here. Most college hitters are taught to wait a little bit with 2 strike counts, protect against the all-speed pitch, and when you can throw the heater right on the inside part of the plate like that, it is going to be money more times than not, and nothing Kling can do about that. I love pitchers that finish with the fastball in with 2 strikes.
Fourth K for Fisher. Now the 9-hole hitter, Stephen Minam. Minam is just a freshman. He's at a Centennial High School in Las Cruces, New Mexico. KP, his nickname is Monster for a guy who's 5'8", 172.
Like it.
Yeah, and that's
You know where it
We
comes
call
from?
Ben tiny.
That's 5'8" and spikes too, I promise you.
He picked up the nickname pretty early. I mean, like day one of his life, because he was born, according to his parents, a hairy little monster to short. Shelton handles it. First haircut came when he was 3 days.
I got you.
Hey, we got Kevin O'Sullivan with us. Quick backstory. When we were with you before BP, you talked about placing your third baseman in the perfect spot. Dale Thomas got a ground ball to him to begin that inning that was exactly what you talked about. And my question is not about this field or how it plays or how you move guys around, but in your years in this league, how much does your experience pay off and just little things like that?
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of watch over the years, and every field's different, and every situation's different. But there's a lot of balls that are hit in front of home plate that are dirt to dirt. So, like we said before the game, third baseman's got to make a decision. He's got to play in or he's going to play back. That in between position is really tough in the field when it goes dirt to dirt.
Hey, Sully, with Kate Fisher, I mean, it was a little bit of bad luck in the first. I know he created some of his own issues, but since then it seems like he's found it pretty good. What have you seen these last 3 innings as opposed to the first?
He's commanding his fastball better on the inner half, not trying to do too much. Obviously, a lot of their hitters like to stand on top of the plate. And he's starting to get his breaking ball going, his slider. I know we gave him a double to Brazel on the changeup, but he's just been locating better. And I think the last inning there where he got 2 outs on 2 pitches, that kind of saved him an inning. So hopefully he'll continue to do what he's doing.
Sully, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
How about Kevin O'Sullivan, guys? How about this, though? It's hard to argue that Florida's not been the best college program in the country the last 15 years. 15 full seasons at Florida, 8 trips to the College World Series out of 15 years, a national title, and played for 2 more in the championship. That's how good Florida and Kevin O'Sullivan has been over the last 15 years.
They have won 20 of their last 22 3-game series. Here's Cade Curlin at the top of the order. I want to explain that first question. We were talking with him pregame, and he talked about positioning his third baseman, as he alluded to. You either got to play in or play back because there's dirt at the plate and it's a dirt infield, right? And he said, I go, did you guys pick that up practicing here last night? And he goes, no, I've known that for years. You haven't been here in 5 years. He said, yeah, well, the field hasn't changed. I know. It just seems like that is a minor thing, and maybe it only comes into play 3 times this weekend. But
it already did once.
It already did once. But you would think, KP, that there are innumerable little nuggets in the back of his baseball brain by being in this league so long to come into play.
I just think there's certain coaches, players, whoever that are around this game that the game just talks to them a little bit different. I mean, Ben, you play with one of those guys in the big leagues for a long time. And so often it maybe isn't the big stuff that they're noticing more than anybody else. It's stuff like that. And oversimplify what he's saying is, at this ballpark with right-handed hitters, there's a lot of times that rollover ground ball, once it hits the dirt, is ultimately it's not going to hit in the grass before your third baseman fields it. So if we're even with the bag, I'm going to get it on the first hop. Playing deep enough, we're not going to get that tweener. It gives you a little bit more time to react to a good hop as Holman punches out his 11th of the night already. How about this coming into the inning? Even after the start that Fisher had in the first, both Holman and Fisher, 78 total pitches, 45 strikes.
You would not have thought that, right?
No.
Caglione swung at the first for the first time, and now 0-2. Hit by pitch in the first, drew a walk in the third. Here's the 0-2 from Holman. Now the 1-2 to Caglione. And he drives this one to center field. Back is Kling. The park is going to hold it shy of the track. A long, loud out for Jack Caglione, but Holman is 1K away.
Long months, Sully. You often forget what the game summary does, but not with you.
Simple and to the point. And like Mac Bingham's first name, it's just Mac. And Mac looks at a ball just inside, 1-1. All right, so Sully talked about Cade Fisher's road to recovery after that lengthy first inning. KP, what have you seen?
He has controlled the fastball a lot better. I think that's the start of it. I mean, he's only given up 1 hit since the first inning, so there hasn't been a lot of loud contact for LSU the entire night. They just hit him in the right spot in the first.
Breaking ball in for a strike, 2-2. And Bingham up the hand, shallow left field. And the catch made on the run by Colby Shelton.
Ben, they're going back to that same approach. And Sully talked about it, that LSU's right-handed hitters, and it's 8 of the 9 in his lineup, are climbing up on top of the plate. He's had the ability over the last few, and he's stick the fastball in late. Got a strikeout looking last inning on Kling, and then right there got that fastball in on Bingham's hands.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it was a breaking ball before that slowed that bat down a little bit, and then back to the inside part of the plate with that heater. That is a deadly combination.
Tommy White nubs one to the right of the mound. Gloved by Fisher. Take that every chance you can get against Tommy White. 2 down.
Yeah, now Cade Fisher has a changeup. He only uses about 8% of the time, but after he's done so much work with that heater on the inside part of the plate, eventually these LSU hitters are going to start trying to cheat a little bit. They're going to get that foot down a little bit, open up, and try to get the barrel to the inside part of the plate to that fastball. Now, if he can start to incorporate that changeup, which is his 3rd best pitch, and I think that's what that was right there. It looked like a changeup right off the cap to Tommy White.
3-hole hitter Jared Jones looks at a strike, 0-1. Blown away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Jones was hit by a pitch in the 1st, lined out to right field in the 3rd. Two-one. Swing and a miss.
And of course, that's a difference maker too. 2-1 breaking ball, fastball count, lands the breaking ball just like he did to Bingham in a 2-1 count.
Two twos right down the gut. Changed bridge. The 6th inning starts with a Luke Heyman pop up and out of play. Do the bridges have names or just new and old?
I think we just call that the Mississippi River Bridge or the new bridge.
New Mississippi River Bridge.
11 Ks for Luke Holman. His ball laced foul into the Florida bullpen. Action in the LSU bullpen. Herring getting loose. Ben, does anybody fish the Mississippi River up here?
Yeah.
What are you finding?
Mostly catfish, but there's some big catfish down there.
Heyman's K'd twice, fouled straight back. How big?
Bigger than humans from what we've been told. There was a guy that went down working on some pipes down at the Mississippi River right there by the new bridge some years ago, and he tells a story about going down and there were catfish down there as big as he was, and it made him very, very nervous.
Well, I understand why that would make him nervous, but I believe your description leaves a little to the imagination, because you say as big as humans. I'm not sure if you're aware humans come in all shapes and sizes. You know, if you found a catfish as big as Stephen Milam, that'd be a big catfish.
Well, they're bigger than Stephen Milam. They're probably about the size of Tommy White.
That's big.
That's big.
It's a good sized catfish.
12 Ks for Luke Coleman.
How's our pond looking on the farm? I didn't get the update this year of when you dropped all the crawfish in there.
Well, there's been a problem with the crawfish, and because of the drought last year, the crawfish farmers have really been struggling here in Louisiana. Not nearly as many crawfish available. Prices have not come down yet. They're catching a few, but they're not catching what they typically catch this time of year. We had an awful drought down here in the Baton Rouge area and in the southeast last year, and it hurt the crawfish big time.
0-1 to Colby Shelton, who's 0-2 with a couple of Ks, and Holman has now set a career high with 12 strikeouts. You say catching crawfish, right? That looks good.
Ah, there we go.
Found a few.
Are crawfish generally, what percentage of crawfish that are consumed come from farms versus in the wild?
Well, typically this time of the year, early in crawfish season, and it begins around January, most of the crawfish you get are going to be what we call pond crawfish, which is where those come from. And
not hard to catch is my point. You kind of know they're there.
Yeah, but they're not there this year like they have been in the past because the drought killed a lot of them.
Because the water level
was bad. Yes. That was washing crawfish right there. So they catch them and they wash them. They wash them up real good, and they ship them off.
Holman has struck out 13.
Now those right there are boiled and ready to consume.
How many crawfish do you think you've eaten in your life?
I'd be scared to know.
Well, that's why I'm asking. I want to know.
A lot. When I sit down and eat crawfish, like it's nothing to eat 10, 12, maybe 15 pounds of crawfish. Like if I'm eating to get full. Pounds, yes.
In one sitting?
Absolutely.
Floyd's going to have a big old batch ready for us tomorrow, right here in the
I'm
park.
looking forward to it. I actually had some boiled crawfish for the first time today. They were very good.
Ty Evans homered in the 4th inning, lone run of the night for Florida. 15 pounds. I mean, you've seen Ben McDonald eat a tomahawk steak, so that should be no big surprise, but that takes a lot of work.
But 15 pounds of crawfish is not really 15 pounds of meat, obviously. You're only eating the tail meat.
100th pitch of the night from Holman is low and away. How many crawfish would make up 15 pounds? 150?
Depending on the size. This year, right now, they're probably small to mediums, and as the season goes forward, they'll become medium to large. And so, in a typical,
as we all do.
Yeah, in a typical sack of crawfish.
Not just the crawfish.
You know, and we should be talking to Eric Hetzel, who played baseball here years ago at LSU, and is listening tonight. But he's a crawfish farmer, so he catches his own crawfish, and he's also a crawfish distributor as well. He buys other farmers' crawfish, and then he sells them out to restaurants and places and whatever. Huge business here in Louisiana.
We'll count to Evans. Holman has already set a career high with 13 Ks. Here's his 103rd pitch of the night. And it's foul back. Holman was the ace at Alabama last year. He's the Friday night starter at LSU this year. 3-2 again. Chop to the left side. Here's Tommy White. And the 6th is complete. A career high 13. They got their hands full with Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn needs a win. Swept the opening weekend. Hagen Smith beat them 1-0 last night.
Well, Hagen Smith, huh?
Yeah. Leads the country in strikeout. At least he did before Chase Burns went out today.
And that's after his first outing of the season.
Yeah, where he got
resulted in 3 outs total. Hayden Travinski 0 for 2. And this one launched foul. That is a push broom of a stash for Hayden Travinski. And he's got a flavor saver down low. Best of both worlds, 2-2. He'd be tasting the crawfish 2 days after, wouldn't he?
He could stuff a couple of tails in that mustache.
You'd hide a few.
Ben, you ever had a mustache?
No, I haven't. I tried to grow one my senior year in high school, and it had like 7 hairs on my top lip, and I don't know. Still can't grow one.
Travinski pulls it down the line. It's a fair ball. Sheldon has to dig it out of the corner. Travinski will lumber into second with a leadoff double in a 1-run game.
Well, Kate Fisher had set down 13 of 14 before this one. The only base runner in the midst of that was the Braswell double. This is something LSU has not done all night. That's get the leadoff man on. Travinski hooks it just inside the third base bag, and he's standing on second base. They got a base runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the 6th.
Well, LSU is seeing Fisher for the 3rd time through the lineup, and after getting pounded with heaters on the inside part of the plate, you're starting to see him cheat a little bit and try to get the head to the ball. And Travinski, a very nice job with his thing.
The heart of, and they do try to get it down, but it's pushed foul. 0-1. That was right when Fisher really got it rolling. Been only 3 sacks in the season for LSU. Is that a byproduct of the non-conference schedule? Or more?
I think so. I mean, obviously with a new team and a new lineup, LSU and of course, Jay Johnson's trying to figure out what players give him his best chance offensively. But this is a part of LSU's game. I mean, 144 homers last year, second in the country. They bunted a few times last year when it called for that situation.
Pearson hit by a pitch, 2 on with Ethan Fry coming up.
Now batting for LSU, designated hitter Ethan Fry.
Fry 1 for 2 tonight, including a 2-out single to plate the second run of the game for LSU. That's back in the first. Hitting .750 with runners in scoring position. And he pulls back on that attempt. Fisher's next pitch will be his 100th.
Fisher threw 109 pitches a week ago.
Two and one. Florida's only turned 7 double plays this season. And this ball's launched into center field. Guy racing into the gap at the track at the wall, and it's off the middle of the fence. Headed to third is Travinski. That's all the farther the catcher will advance. LSU has loaded the bases with nobody out in the 6th on the second hit of the game for Ethan Fry in just his 4th start of the season.
Yeah, Travinski here got kind of caught in no man's land at second base. He thought that
on average.
And the first one to Braswell misses low and away. Michael Braswell III with the bases loaded this year, 3 for 4, 10 driven in, a couple of singles and a triple. He's on a 5-game hit streak coming into this plate appearance. 2-0. By the way, for Slater, 7 of his 11 appearances have been scoreless. Travinski, the runner, at third. Pearson is at second. And after a shot off the wall, Ethan Fry at first base. Here's the 3-0. Goes to a fastball for a strike. 3-1 slider?
He's thrown it plenty.
Braswell doubled his last time up, bases juiced, and fastball's in for a strike, full count.
That's kind of where the fastball is going to sit velocity-wise. What's odd about it, throws a lot more sliders, as KP mentioned, but opponents only hitting 158 off the fastball.
And the slider's in the dirt, ball 4, and he walks in a run, an insurance run at least for LSU. That one charged to Fisher. Paxton Kling is due up. Jay Johnson give him a few last-minute bits of advice before he comes to the plate. You think he just said slider, slider, slider?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers say, yeah, the numbers say that's what you're going to get. You might as well, when you get, 0-0 counts or counts in your favor, and pitchers have tendencies, no reason not to sit on the ball on the outside part of the plate or outer third, be a breaking ball and try to get it the other way.
1-0. One. Are most of his sliders going to be out of the zone?
He gets a fair amount of chance.
Whoa, this one's launched deep to left. It is caught at the wall by Shell, not tagging from third, Pearson. And if the wind is dead or not going that way, that's a 4-bagger.
Well, there was a slider that was in the zone. And Slater's lucky that that one stayed in the ballpark because just enough off the end of the bat. I think Paxton Klink still thought he got enough of it. So did the 10,000 plus that were standing behind it, but deep enough to score a run. So just going to go as a sac fly for Kling, but it adds another one. LSU with 2 more here now in the 6th.
And it brings Milam to the plate. Milam is grounded out twice. Misses up and away with a fastball. Squares the bunt. If you're Slater and you're slider heavy, how does that change against the first lefty?
He doesn't throw quite as many to lefties from a percentage standpoint, but he still throws a slider more than a fastball to left-handers. I mean, that's the one when he's right. That's the one that he trusts the most.
And now the changeup. Two-one from Slater. In for a strike, 2-2. Fries at second, Braswell at first. Chopped up the middle. Tough play on the run made by Curlin. No chance for 2, and both runners advance. Fry now at third and Braswell at second, 2 down. Right, Slater has faced 3 batters. He has yet to throw a first pitch strike. Back to the top of the order, Mac Bingham. Bingham is 0 for 3, 1-0. Well, fastball good enough for Slater to help him out tonight.
I think to Ben's point, I mean, his outcome on the fastballs have been positive this year.
Chopped to third, off of the glove of Thomas, and a run scores. We talked about positioning over third base multiple times tonight.
That's the very ball that Kevin O'Sullivan was talking about. Is the ball, he said it goes dirt to dirt so often just because it's hard out in front of home plate, man. And so if you're playing close to even with the bag right now, it's going to get over your head. Thomas just not playing quite deep enough. Had to backpedal it. Even if he gloves it, I'm not sure if he's got the ability to make the throw over. So it'll go as an RBI single right there for Bingham. The Tigers add another one.
Yeah, and I don't know that he came in because Milam did show bunt at one point. So maybe he was thinking, even in a 2-strike count, that he could put the bunt down and kind of got him caught in no man's land.
And now you got to face Tommy White with 2 out. Slater thought he had a strike, 1-0. I want to get behind to this guy. Home runs in 4 consecutive games. Swing and a miss on the changeup. The entire crowd gasped.
Watch White's approach here. That if he gets to 2 strikes, watch how that stance will change a little bit. He'll widen out even more and swing that front foot open. Not doing it yet.
Two and 1.
Yeah, and what's odd about Tommy White, normally when guys really spread out with 2 strikes, it's more of a controlled swing, but he still finds a way to punish the baseball even spread out.
Hot shot to third. Thomas has it. Only needs to go to first, and that'll close the inning, but not before LSU puts a 3 spot on them if you got him.
Spin him if you got him, and boy, he had 2 breaking balls, 2 really good breaking balls.
Shelnut said he got hit in the foot. He seems to be the only one that saw it. Now Kevin O'Sullivan will use his second challenge to look at it. Let's see. Yeah.
Yep.
Florida has challenged potential hit by pitch. This play will be under review.
You know, from a context clue standpoint, very rarely do you see a guy.
The call of no hit by pitch stands. The count will be 1-0. Florida has 0 challenges remaining.
You gotta explain this one to me. I mean, you could see the ball change direction very clearly. That one's a little bit tougher to see. On the other one, I thought it was clear the ball changed direction.
I think context clue, the one we just saw, made it evident as well, because the ball changed plane, where it doesn't typically, it would bounce on the dirt versus come out flatter if it's glancing off of a shoe.
Well, especially if it's a breaking ball. The breaking ball is always going to bounce higher anyway.
I mean, it looked like to me the ball clearly changed directions.
Smacked up the middle and gloved by Herring. Great reaction. And a missed opportunity for Florida. Instead of a base runner on, and Dale Thomas coming up.
Well, pitchers are always the best athletes on the field, and this is another example of that. Ball almost behind him. Nice snag. I would like to see him just kind of take a little step towards first and throw it over there instead of running it over there.
Maybe need to get
that
his
always
cardio
cracked
on.
me up. I mean, pitchers can hit dots at 60 feet 6 inches, but when they catch a ball on the mound, they got to run it to first base.
Here's Dale Thomas. Popped it up. You never ran it over to first base. It would take you 2 steps to get there. That's very
way
inefficient.
too much energy. I'm trying to conserve.
That's
You got to throw
inefficient.
130 pitches. I'm just going to toss it over.
Mississippi State is trying to finish off A&M. 5-1 lead for the Bulldogs in the 9th inning.
That's what you're going to see from Griffin Herring. Fastball will tick up to 93, 94. He'll use it the majority of the time, but a pretty good slider behind it. Occasional changeup. He hasn't thrown it much this year. It's pretty much heavy fastball slider. Boy, LSU has got a lot of left-handers on that bullpen. There was a time LSU didn't even have a left-hander on the staff. They have 9 on the staff this year.
2-2. Full count. By the way, Missouri's taking Kentucky to extra innings. Cats trying to go to 4-0 in the league, leading 6-3 now in the 11th inning. Simmons Field in Columbia, Missouri. Dribbled foul. Payoff to Thomas. Wind is really whipping left to right now, and that ball is fouled off.
What's our wind here when it heats up, Ben? We're going out to
more south.
to left
Yeah,
center.
it'll blow out more towards left center.
Here's the 8th pitch. Gonna end up in the parking lot. Three-two. Hopper gets right past Braswell and into left field. This is second hit of the game for this. One and 0. And here's Nate Yeski out of the LSU dugout. Got a lefty and a righty getting loose. Coastal Carolina before coming to Florida. 96 starts in his Coastal career, and he sends this one high to center. Kling. 2 down. And another transfer. This is Jalen Guy, transferred in from Liberty. Guy is 0 for 2 tonight. Thomas is the runner at first, and this one's fouled off. Up transfers, sideways transfers, down transfers. Is there any one or other that works better? Guys coming up from, say, the Sun Belt versus coming over from the Pac-12 or even within the SEC?
I just think if you're coming into the SEC, it's obviously the best conference in all of college baseball. I think there are some adjustments. I don't care what conference you come from. I just think the pitching is better. The velocity is a little bit more. The game is a little bit faster in the SEC than it is in most other conferences. So, yeah, to answer your question, it's definitely a difference.
Here's the 0-2 to Guy. What do you mean faster?
I think the players are faster. You know, it's kind of like SEC football, which you do a lot of. I mean,
just the athleticism.
The athleticism. I mean, you talk about the draft picks every year. I mean, the SEC's won the last 4 College World Series, 5 out of 6, and 9 out of the last 13. I think that kind of just speaks for itself. It's the best conference in all of college baseball, and it's really not even close.
Oh, 2.
I will say, though, this year within the league, at least that I've seen so far, the weekend stuff isn't quite what we're used to seeing across the board. I don't think you have as many high-end weekend draftable guys as we're used to seeing just across the league.
The 1-2 again to Guy, and he fouls another. Is that based on SEC history or relative and comparable to other leagues?
No, I think it's more based on SEC history.
So you still could be top of the line in the college game, just not a Paul Skeens out there.
Not in the league. No, Chase Burns looking
Skeenish,
looking pretty good so far.
The Paul Skeens come along about every 30 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Guy fouls off another. Burns was at Tennessee, now at Wake Forest. Keep you up to date. Chop to third, Tommy White in fair territory. What a play! Came here to prove that he could play defense, and after on the mound.
I loved it.
To short, Shelton. 1 down. New pitcher in the game for the Florida Gators is Fisher Jameson.
Oh, I don't know. It's no fun at all. But to your point, I kept telling myself, I'm the warmest guy on the field. I'm the warmest guy on the field. I'm the warmest guy on the field. And I wasn't very warm.
And I was lying to myself.
Hayden
Not the warmest
Travinsky's
guy.
1 for 3 tonight. One and 1. What impacts more, bitter cold or wind?
On the mound?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's
And
another
I'm talking
backwards
extreme
thing.
wind, obviously.
Yeah. I actually didn't mind pitching into extreme wind because the ball moved more.
Yeah. And if you were downwind, you got maybe an extra mile per hour or something,
bump.
you know. But cold weather was the toughest for me because you couldn't. The ball felt like a golf ball. You know, you couldn't get a good grip or a good feel for the ball. You know, of course, in my time we all used pine tar. You know, that was part of the stuff that we used. Not because we knew anything about spin rates. We didn't know anything about spin rate, which was why guys were using the tacky stuff, 5, 6, 7 years ago, big time.
You just wanted to grip it.
We wanted to be able to feel the ball and be able to grip it. You know, and we used it during cold weather. We never used it. I never used it during warm. Once I could work up a little bit of a lather and I had a little moisture on my fingers, use the rosin bag, I got all the tacky stuff I needed from that. But when it was cold out and you couldn't sweat, you really couldn't feel the ball. And hitters knew that every pitcher was using something, but they didn't care because because they knew that would help you control the ball to where they're not getting balls up and in at high velocities, you know. And so there were some tricks that we used to be able to just feel the ball a little bit more.
After Travinsky's second hit of the night, he's replaced by a pinch runner, and Josh Pearson coming up. Jake Brown will get a chance over at first. KP, were you finished with your wind comment? Was there any other extreme?
No, I think that, you know, most of the time you show up and the wind's blowing out, you're not too excited to pitch. But if it was blowing dead out,
Pearson launches this one deep right center. Guy has plenty of space with that hard wind.
Especially if you were somebody that spun it a little bit or could take advantage with a two-seamer. I kind of like the place that was weird to pitch was Colorado, because it never felt like you could get anything to spin. And I'm sure it's altitude. I mean, that had to have something to do with it, but it wasn't. I mean,
so you could feel it spinning out of your hand. You just didn't get the same bite.
It didn't. It never felt like you could spin it as well.
And that was out of the hand or the result of the pitch?
Yes.
Both.
No, I guess out of the hand it felt about the same. And the hitters smiling. All the hitters loved.
Why wouldn't they?
Love to be in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the Rockies have a hard time attracting free agent pitchers. Yeah. I mean, they have to overpay them to get them there because pitchers just don't want to pitch in Colorado.
Ethan Fry is 2 for 3. It's our first throw over to first of the game. Seventh inning, 1 on. And that one gets right through the wickets on Garrison and allows Brown second base. You guys weren't as impressed as I was that we got to the 7th with only 1 throw.
That's a pretty good nugget right there. I didn't realize that.
Did you come up with that one on your own?
I got 4 people in my head.
Oh, all right. So no.
Only one is real.
So no, you didn't.
I did. 12,539 the attendance tonight. Someone handed me that note. It is the 6th highest attendance figure in LSU history.
May top it tomorrow.
Ben, what's the feeling around town? Are they pretty excited about this team?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, obviously coming off a national championship, there's a lot of excitement. You know, LSU, like a lot of other programs, have their first pitch banquet every year. And they set an all-time high in attendance this year at the first pitch banquet. So, yeah, a lot of excitement around Baton Rouge.
Who is the keynote speaker?
I don't know.
Right now it is empty, but it's going to be rocking again Sunday because that LSU women's basketball team came away with a 70-60 win over Rice. Kim Mulkey was not happy. She said that was not the SEC championship team on the floor tonight. A lot of selfish play. Starts with me to prep them, I guess. That'll be interesting. It'll be a fun practice tomorrow.
Yeah, she doesn't hold her tongue a whole lot. She's going to tell you just about what she's thinking.
Not just about.
Kramer made it to the big leagues last year, huh?
Yes, he did. I happened to be there, too. It was a surprise.
Well, that must have been cool for you.
It was.
Keeping the LSU
Pulmonary showed up, and, of course, Kim Mulkey showed up, which was cool.
2-2. The new catcher, by the way, is Alex Milazzo, the veteran.
Yeah, this is kind of Jay Johnson's defensive package here. Brings Alex Milazzo in.
Where was that debut?
St. Louis.
A punch out for Griffin Herring. That is the 14th strikeout for Florida batters tonight.
Curlin's gone down all 4 times. First 3 times up was swinging. This time breaking ball the inside part of the plate. Florida needs him to hit. And he took a fastball off that front hand. You can see the pad he's got on it right now. slowed him down for a few weeks. But now Kurland on the year, 4 walks, 28 strikeouts out of the leadoff spot. Hey, by the way, is there a more impressive hardware set than Jay Johnson has in his office right now? We've got the Golden Spikes, a Gold Glove, the National Player of the Year trophy, the National Championship trophy, and a National Championship ring. All within like 10 feet of each other.
Yeah. And this is his 3rd year.
Some of us were involved in the discussion, not just window shopping. But what else impressed you?
Well, you kept asking so many questions. I had to kind of take in the rest of the room, and that's what I saw.
2-1.
By the way,
I'm curious by nature.
Is
Kyle.
4 strikeouts? What do you call 4 strikeouts?
Golden sombrero.
That's what I got too.
Yeah.
So people,
Who calls it something else?
I don't know. I was
Whoever it
arguing
is,
with
don't
somebody
talk to
not
me
too
anymore.
long.
Probably not someone you should still talk
5? What do you got? 5? Golden sombrero?
to. No.
I thought 4 was the golden sombrero.
4 is the
Four
sombrero.
Oh, well,
5 is
would
the
be
platinum.
What's 6?
6 is I can't believe you're still in the game.
6, you go home. 6, you go home.
The only way I say that, I saw Sam Horn strike out in the big league 6 times in one game.
Really?
Yeah. 6 times in one game. And it was an extra inning ball game. And the funny thing is, his 7th at bat, he's down 0-2.
Did bunt?
He's fixing to punch out for the 7th time. And he hits a ball out toward right center field and stands at home plate and watches it after punching out 6 times. It hits off the top of the wall and kicks in. Now he's got to bust it to get to second. Blows out a hammy in between first and second. Makes it to second, but he's got to come out of the game and go in the IL. And I asked him after the game, I said, Big Sam, because we won the game, so he was in a decent mood. I said, man, I've seen 4, I've seen 5. I said, we don't have a name for 6. I got to know. He said, Big Ben, we're just going to call it Plenty. And so it became the Horn of Plenty. 6 punch outs in one game.
That is a record shared by 7 others. Swing and a miss. And another strikeout. 1987 with Keith Smart.
Keith Smart.
That's right.
In the Superdome. To the right side. Kicked and botched. It was a long run for Kurland, who was playing more up the middle, but Braswell reaches. By the way, the Florida Gators, tough loss today. They had to fight back. Eventually lost in Colorado on a last-second shot.
Well, you mentioned it, KP. Florida, the best fielding team in the SEC. They can really do it. And Kurland had to go a long way for this ball, but still, I think if you'd ask him after the game, he said, I should have made that play right there.
And here's Paxton Lynch. Paxton Kling. Paxton Lynch was a quarterback. That's an error on Cade Kurland, his 5th of the season. Kling is 0 for 2. Did you play in the game against Kentucky in which LSU blew a lead of something like 30?
No.
You did play in a game at Rupp where you handed them their biggest home loss.
I think it's still the worst home loss in Kentucky basketball history. 76-41. Still remember that one.
1-0 to Kling. Push to the right side. That will advance the runner. The 4th sack of the season for LSU.
Yeah, Jay Johnson looking for a little bit of insurance as we get down to the last couple innings of this ball game.
Kyle, you played in the big leagues. Did you play basketball?
I was on the team. I was on the team at a career high 7 on senior night, Tom, my senior year. Gave my mom some flowers. Halftime, dropped 7. Should have been 9. I got fouled. They didn't call it.
Minor launches this one to left. On a different day, different air pattern. That one may leave the park, but instead he's still homerless in his freshman season. 2 down.
I'd like to take this opportunity.
There's Mac Bingham. In for a strike. He's got an RBI single on a chopper to third. What was the motivation to go to your signature hairstyle?
Honestly, I was coming over here to play basketball and baseball, and I knew there wouldn't be a whole lot of time to worry about the hair design, and I wanted something that I could just hop in the shower and roll with.
It's all about maintenance.
Yeah, and that's where we end up going, and just kind of stuck with it.
Well, you mean to tell me that that thing achieves its look without any product?
I mean, there's an occasional product in it, right in the front where the two cowlicks are. You know, there's a cowlick right on each side right here. So I got to do a little something every now and then to kind of make it act like it wants to do what it's supposed to do.
A little convincing.
Past Caglione and into right, another RBI for Mac Bingham, and he's into second base. LSU extends the lead to 7-1. Scratch that, 6-1. I got ahead of myself.
Well, Jay Johnson pushing the right buttons. Sacrifice bunt, get a runner in scoring position. LSU's been pretty good tonight. Runners in scoring position, some big base hits.
Now batting third baseman, Tommy White.
Here's Tommy White. Four-game home run streak on the line for White. And White sends it to right field, pushing Evans back. And that'll close out the 8th. LSU 15-0.
My freshman year from the free throw line. Now, I didn't have a ton. I think I only had like 28 attempts or whatever, so it didn't qualify because I didn't shoot enough of them. But
well, that's Del Brown's
that's one thing
fault.
I could do is shoot a little bit.
We're going to count.
I wasn't going to get up above the rim a whole lot, but if they left me open, I could shoot it.
Colby Shelton fouls that one off. Out of play.
I didn't
Hold
know
on,
they
you did get
had it.
above the rim. You were in the dunk contest.
Yeah, I went to the dunk contest, and I did eliminate Ken Griffey Jr. in the dunk contest, but it was my only dunk that I had.
If that's not the most humble brag of it, oh yeah, I just happened to eliminate Ken Griffey Jr. in
It was
the dunk
weird.
contest.
I was a 1 foot jumper. In other words, if I could get going and go off 1 foot, I could get up pretty good. But like off 2 for whatever reason, just wasn't happening. Just wasn't happening.
So Griffey didn't have any hops, or just didn't have the
A little
creativity?
bit, but no, he didn't have a whole lot of hops. My dunk was just better than his, and then
Who'd you lose to?
I lost to, and I can't call his name, but he was a track star that year, and the dude left from like the free throw line like Jordan did and dunked, and I just wanted to just pack up my stuff and go home right away. Like I got nothing. I got nothing in the bag for that. Yeah, I was like, okay, can I leave now?
What was the dunk contest?
Nike used to hold a celebrity like dunk contest years ago,
Really?
and Deion Sanders would show up. The running back from the Lions, Barry Sanders was there. Yeah, and believe it, he at 5'7" or whatever, he could jump up and dunk it. And so they would gather some folks together and do a dunk contest every now and then.
Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Dion, Kenny Lofton, all in the same dunk contest, the 1991 Foot Locker Slam Dunk Contest.
Yeah,
but
long time.
You may have beaten Junior in the dunk contest, but
I think Randy Johnson was there
yard,
one year
he
too.
went yard on you 3 times.
Yeah, he did. He went yard 3 times on everybody, I felt like.
And Delino DeShields had the best score.
Yeah, he could get up too.
Kenny Lofton was in it the next year. Remember, he played for Arizona's Final Four team in 1988. That's a pretty good baseball start. Ty Evans 1 for 3 with a home run.
If LSU hangs on this is big, and the reason it's so big is obviously you win game 1, but you only use 2 pitchers, your starter and potentially 1 guy, so it really sets LSU up for the final 2 games of this series.
2-2 to Evans. There's a lot of chatter, KP, around Jack Caglione going on Sunday. It feels like there was some talk maybe there could be a shift and move him around up in the rotation. Whether or not that occurs, does tonight's outing by Cade Fisher impact Your line of thinking as to whether or not
No.
they should consider it?
No, I actually thought Fisher was better tonight. I mean, I know the line isn't going to look great, but I thought he was a lot closer. I understand and agree with what Kevin O'Sullivan's doing. Because the one thing, and it's not just Sully, but you talk to people that have watched this Florida team this year. Caglianone's power, everybody they talk about defensively how important he is standing over at first base. And you're gonna, I mean, you know he's going to start one of the games on the weekends. Makes you defensively better the other two. That's not all bad.
Whoa, beautiful backhand pickup. Milam's throw is just a hair late. And it pulled Jones off the bag. That was the difference.
You know, there was another middle infielder, Ben, that was from New Mexico that played here.
The call of safe is confirmed at first base. LSU has one remaining challenge.
So 1 on and 1 out for Tyler Shelnutt.
Now batting for Florida, left fielder Tyler Shelnutt.
Shelnutt's 0 for 2, a pop up and a ground out to first. Some rain up the eastern seaboard meant that a lot of the ACC series went off a little early today. From a national picture, KP, anything jump out to you in terms of the results so far on this Friday night?
I think Wake's season so far has jumped out a little bit. I mean, preseason #1 in everybody's poll, and scuffled a little bit.
Laser to left. Shelnutt's first hit, 2 on. And Evans headed to third. Shelnutt behind him is going to fill in at second.
The Gators not done yet. I think Wake lost the first 2 series in league and have won the first 2 this weekend, so it'll be their first series win. The preseason #1 team, at least in the ACC. I'll tell you the one that jumps out is the last undefeated team in the country, and that's Florida State.
They off this weekend?
I don't know. They shouldn't be. It's the first. Yeah, they're at Clemson. At Clemson got rained out.
.91 for a strike to Dale Thomas. Up the middle and off the leather. Toss over to first. Both runners are at third. They're going to try and throw behind them. And we'll get a rundown between second and third, and that will end the game. Base running mistake just kind of adding to Florida's woes on a night